My name is Daniel Martin Moore, and we are here in St. Pancras Old Church in London, England. I grew up going to church. We didn't have a building quite so spectacular, but and a big part of that congregation, the identity of that congregation was singing. And my grandmother always sang, and my mother always sang in the home. And my brother's a pianist, and so there was always music in the house, when I was born to the present day. I grew up listening to a lot of folk music, a lot of classical music, hearing my brother practice classical piano repertoire, and hearing pop radio. My dad was a big fan of Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan, so those records were always playing. And I think like so much of American music, like so much of American culture and everything, is just this intense blend of a million different things, and it gets to the point where you can't even figure out what it is anymore. You know what I mean? Hopefully it takes on its own identity. But I love things I listen to the most are probably like Charles Mingus, a lot of jazz, a lot of old folk music, Gene Ritchie and Woody Guthrie. I've been really fortunate enough to collaborate with a lot of the really talented musicians from Kentucky, like Ben Sollee, the cellist and singer-songwriter, and the band My Morning Jacket, proud Kentuckians. And there's actually just started a record label called Old Kentuck, and our first release is a trio from Louisville, Kentucky called Maiden Radio, who are one of my favorite bands. Ben Sollee and I made a record called Dear Companion, trying to help raise awareness about mountaintop removal and it's an incredibly aggressive form of strip mining for coal. Basically, the engineers and the companies choose to do mountaintop removal instead of deep mining, instead of digging a hole into the earth, because a lot of times the coal veins that they're attempting to get at are only maybe 3 or 4 feet deep, so they can't tunnel into the mountain to get it. So what they do instead is they blow up sometimes between 200 and 600 feet on occasion of the mountain and turn it into rubble, and then push all the rubble that they've created into the valleys and then scoop up the coal. And you can imagine what that does to the environment and what it does to the water, the groundwater and the surface water. It's just destroyed when that happens. And what it does to the people who live near it. The amount of dust, the amount of coal dust, which is highly toxic. Their wells turn to poison, full of methane. Some people's tap water catch right on fire right out of the tap because there's so much combustible gas in it. And it is absolutely destroying Central Appalachia. The craziest thing about it is that it only accounts for about 4% of coal production. So we don't even actually need it. We recorded in the cool of the day in 2009. And he was here. Maybe you saw him walk by in the background. But he and I produced it together. Dan's on this tour with me, playing keyboard and drums and singing harmonies. And originally I was going to make this record for my family, just as a collection of spirituals and hymns that they loved and that they've been bugging me for years to record. Every time I go to the studio, they'd be like, "When are you going to record, in the cool of the day, or when are you gonna, if you have any extra time, can you record in the garden?" So I was just gonna take 4 or 5 days and make these recordings for them, and then somehow it turned into an album. The label heard it and they were really excited. They thought it sounded great. So we brought in some friends and collaborators and made it into a record. The song I'm gonna play is a brand new song, actually, and I haven't played it before. I think I'm gonna play it tonight. When we got here and saw the building and I heard this room and I heard the beautiful sound of the room, it just sort of sprang into my mind. So I felt like I should play it. This song is called "It Comes in Waves." Comes in waves, the light I see, the same light that always surrounded me. And there are things I have not said, and there are things I would never say. But your love, I feel it now, as I ever have, and as I ever will. Comes in waves, comes in waves, comes in waves. Comes in waves, comes in waves, light I see, same light that always surrounded me. Comes in waves, light I see, same light that always surrounds